we all went toward the TV to watch CNN, and sure enough, that's when it all began for me. Watching what occurred, that was the American Airlines plane that first entered the first tower. We were all just stood there with our jaws dropped, incredulous, as we watched the United Airlines airplane hit the next tower. So, well, what through my mind was anger. There's a word called aghast. We were aghast that this could even have occurred on our soil. Or am I going to war because I was still in the military as well? Am I going to be called up to go to war? Sign me up. I'm ready to go right now.
Well, I think, it's been so many years, you kind of remember what you think you remember thinking. I remember probably all of the sad emotions, and grief and loss and mourning, and frankly, shock and dismay. And I think airline pilots in general knew that had a pretty good idea of where this was headed. And so I also was a little bit probably concerned for the future. We were all aware of, for instance, the Japanese and the kamikaze pilots and so forth, but we never engaged in that. And for that reason, I don't think it was at the forefront of anybody's, thought process. However, once you became aware of that's what was going on, it wasn't inconceivable. So, I think that I came to that conclusion quicker than, for instance, somebody I know said they thought that some hijackers must have been threatening the pilot, and that, how terrible for the pilot to have to fly into that building when they were being threatened. And I said, pilots were not at the controls, because I knew that they would not do that.
I went to the simulator the next morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, Mountain Time, because I knew I would be there an hour before the pilot and co-pilot would come. And I fired up the simulator, and I pulled up the animated simulation, which basically shows you wherever you want to be in the world or the country. And I positioned the simulator in New York City, and I positioned it so I was looking straight at the World Trade Center. And I remember in my mind being so angry and so upset and saying to myself, these guys did this exact same thing in our equipment in simulators, and they practiced doing what they just did in real life. And I was so mad. And I took the simulator and I did a 360-degree turn around the World Trade Center, and I was just very mad.
I was still working at Johns Hopkins University as one of the athletic team's athletic trainers. So the big difference with flying was what we could bring on board. So it was a big deal to ask my teams, last call, do you need anything of me? Because once I checked everything, I could not, have any supplies to, do any little boo-boos or fix any little split jobs or that kind of thing, because normally I traveled with 10 pairs of scissors and scalpels and tweezers and bolt cutters and drills and all that kind of stuff, depending on what sport. So obviously that stuff was on the banned list. That always made me nervous that they would even flag me for checking a bag that had all of that in it. But it did make a difference in that I couldn't bring what I was accustomed to bringing on the plane with the team. And they, for whatever time period, the hour, 2 hours before the flight, and then until we got our bags, I couldn't have access to any supplies for them.